Knock, knock, everybody. Derick Van Ness here, wealth strategist, investor, and life adventurer. And today I want to talk to you about something that is going to blow your mind. It's called Asset Amplification Economics. And if you've never heard of it, that's because not very many people are teaching it. And it's really the idea of how do you take multiple financial strategies, put them together, and create greater results for yourself. And that's what we do. That's what my specialty is. But I keep talking with people and nobody knows this stuff exists. And let me just tell you how I first learned about this, because I didn't know either, not that long ago, maybe 6, 7, 8 years ago. So here was the idea. At the time, I was flipping houses and I was buying a house, using private money, fixing it up, reselling it, or buying on owner financing and doing all this stuff. And when you do it that way, I was able to make my dollars do a couple of different jobs. And then a friend of mine came along and introduced me to something we call the money maximization model, but it's a way to build a banking system inside of a financial product where you can use that money to become your own bank. Well, inside of the banking system, my dollars started doing 4, 5, 6 jobs. And then inside of the real estate, they started doing another 3, 4, 5 jobs. I was able to get my dollars doing 10 jobs at the same time because of the combination of the two. But if I just left the two alone, they weren't nearly as effective, right? And so it got me thinking like, wow, how many different ways are there to use different financial products, strategies, opportunities, tax tools together to create massive results for myself and really amplify. Same amount of dollars, just a much greater result. This is something that we do for clients, and I just want to share a few stories so you kind of get the idea of like what's possible for this. And also, I just want to mention, if you haven't already joined the channel, please do that. Hit the subscribe button down below, or bare minimum, if you like this kind of content, if you're excited to see how financial puzzles come together and you want to see more of this, give us a like. It really helps with the algorithm. And tell your friends about it. If you know anybody who's making $250,000, $300,000 a year or more, they need to know about Asset Amplification Economics, because it really starts to shine when you can bring in the tax pieces. So let me give you an example of a client of mine. This was a client we were working with. They work in the tech space, make about $250,000 a year, but they had a ton of money in a 401k, right? And it wasn't doing a lot for them. They really wanted to invest in real estate and do some other things with their money, but it was kind of trapped with a 401k. So we were able to come in, work with this client, use an attorney who uses some strategies so that they could get access to that money, pull some of that money out of the 401k and avoid the penalties. So that was one win for them. Then they were able to take that money, and because they pulled out, let's just call it $350,000. So on top of their regular income, now that income was going to be very, very high, and they were going to have a big tax bill due at the end of the year. So then we were able to go and use another strategy. It's a donation strategy, leverage donation strategy, what we typically call these types of things. They were able to put about $75,000 into that, but get about a $375,000 tax write-off because of that. And then, so that saved them at the 40% tax bracket, because this would be money coming off the top end with their state and federal and everything. It saved them about $150,000. So that's an extra 75 grand that they would have given Uncle Sam that they could now use for the other things that they wanted to do. We taught them how to take that, put it into a guaranteed growth type of account where they can build it up where it's still totally liquid. And then they were able to take that account, parlay it, and then when they used it in conjunction with the money that was still left in their 401k that was stock market based, using those two together as opposed to one just by itself, they'll be able to take the value of that stock market account and double it in retirement, the amount that they can safely pull out of it. At the end of this, if you want to know how that works, I have another video that you'll be able to just click on up in the corner here on how to double your retirement income. And it talks about how to use non-correlated assets. And what a non-correlated asset is you have two different kinds of assets that grow or perform in ways that aren't related to one another, right? So a lot of times people do something like investing in gold and silver and investing in the stock market, because those two have a tendency to work the opposite. When one's down, the other's up, or vice versa. There's much more sophisticated versions of that, but the same idea here, where you have an asset that has a guaranteed rate of return. So if the stock market crashes, you can use this asset over here to supplement your income until the market recovers, and then you can start using the market again. We call that a volatility buffer strategy. But essentially what we've been able to do is get client more access to their money, avoid penalties, allow them to do the real estate investing that they wanted to do, save them on taxes, then take those taxes, put them to work in a place where they're always going to go up, and where at the same time they enhance the value of their existing stock market portfolio to a magnitude of about 2 times as much income when they get to retirement age. So massive, massive results here happening all the way down that chain for this particular client. And we do this all the time. There's a ton of different things depending on what clients want to do, what assets they do and don't have. If you've got things like commercial properties, real estate, lots of big chunks of cash, you can move this stuff around to get those things working in conjunction, saving you taxes, growing, creating protection, building your estate all at the same time. It's just nobody's teaching this stuff. And part of the reason is you can't start accessing this stuff until you become an accredited investor, meaning that as an individual you make $200,000 a year, or as a couple you make $300,000 a year. Or if you have a net worth over $1 million, not including your primary residence, then you start to become an accredited investor, and these kinds of conversations happen. I'm speaking in total generalities, and everything that a lot of the things that we talked about here can be done. But even if you don't make $200,000 plus, $300,000 plus a year, strategies can be employed that can do the same thing for you. And I just want you to know it exists, because most people out there, they're just slinging a product. They sell product A, stock market, life insurance, gold and silver, cryptocurrency, just real estate, whatever. Nobody's talking about how do you use these together in conjunction with tax strategy. Because listen, if you leave taxes out of the equation, especially like this particular client, if you go out and chase a rate of return, but you're in that 40-45% tax bracket, depending on what state you're in. If you're in California, as high as 49% when you factor in the state, then you're giving away half of the money. So that just kills your ROI, even though you're taking all the risk. So Asset Amplification Economics, it is a different way of approaching it. If you or anyone you know wants to know more about this, just drop a comment down below or go to the website, biglifefinancial.com. Love to tell you more about it. But the truth is, if you're starting to grow and your wealth is starting to build and you want to know better ways, you need to find someone, whether it's us or another team, that can help you to coordinate your assets and your tax strategy in a way that you're going to get those explosive results, explosive in a good way, not a bad way. Anyway, if you want to see a better example of this, check out my other video on how to double your retirement income. You can just click on that up here. And also, if you haven't already subscribed, hit the like button, subscribe, join us for more of these videos, and we will see you on the next one.